Legend has it that Zareth once fought Triangle Man to a draw. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Today we've got my 3v3 basic teams video, which is basically just me going over what I'm going to be using on my alternate account, which is an 8.4 million GP account. Now, before you run away and assume that it's just too unapproachable, I will say this. I only have 2 Galactic Legends. I am in Kyber 2 consistently. In fact, I got pretty close to Kyber 1 last season, and I swim around in this pool of people with 5, 6, 7 GLs and still beat them pretty consistently. And so I hope that a lot of the teams that I can show you are going to be a little bit more relatable to you and I don't know, help you figure out how to do off-meta stuff, help you figure out a good approach for this coming 3v3 season. I don't pretend to be the sole arbiter of truth. However, I think that it's probably worth listening to what I have to say if you don't really know what you're doing going into 3v3. I know that this is going to be a bigger account than a lot of you have. However, it can probably be a good goal, at least for you to be working on, and you can see which teams need gear and which teams I kind of just like let fester and rot. They're just not great, but they do what I need them to do. Now, let's jump in fact. Well, before we jump in, folks, I just want to remind you that if you want to support this channel for free, all you've got to do is hit that like button, subscribe, comment, do something to help me mount the algorithm. It's for your own good as well, folks. We all need to mount now and again. Mounting, it does a body good. Now, here, whoa, we're in my alt madness. How did we get here? This is crazy. I guess let's just talk about the teams while we're here, shall we? So, all right, here are my 2 Galactic Legends. I have Kenobi and I have Luke. Now, one thing I want to point out here, folks, is I'm going to have Jabba next season, probably. So I'm not going to be able to say I only have 2. However, I think 2 is probably it's too few, to be honest. For the people I'm facing, you see, I have 8.4 million. Not trying to hide anything, but this account has a lot of flaws and things that we have to kind of try to help mitigate, because some of these accounts that we're facing, 10 million, even 11 million GP, it gets a little bit tricky to navigate. And so here's kind of, I want to show you guys my defensive philosophy, or offensive defensive philosophy, whatever, as we're going along. I'm showing you all of my teams, so this video tends to run a little bit long, but I do think that it's probably beneficial for the smaller players, that's probably the wrong word, for newer players to go through this and kind of, guys, just so that I can show you guys what the philosophy behind it is, and that that's part of why we're discussing it. It's not just which teams to use, it's also the philosophy behind it. So first off, we have my 2 Galactic Legends, and so we keep a lot of things for offense, guys. We put enough things on defense that it might trip up our opponent if they make a mistake. However, I can't afford to lose any of my weapons because I don't have a strong enough defense to be able to plausibly stop these people who have all these Galactic Legends, because they'll keep half their Galactic Legends and then they'll just kill my GLs with their GLs. And so the idea is that hopefully they undersell or underestimate the teams that I'm placing on defense and use a weaker team so that they can save their good teams for either like 2 manning a team, or saving whatever they have for the back. So all of my good defensive teams are going to be found in the front zone typically on this account, because in the front bottom zone, because there's this level of uncertainty. What if I do have both of my Galactic Legends in the back? They don't know, therefore they're going to keep more stuff for offense and try to undersell or undercut the teams that I have in the front. Now, that being said, these 2 teams are basically just going to kill Galactic Legends. I also don't have a wonderful way to kill Malgus. Malgus is kind of my kryptonite on this account. He's just not a guy that I can easily beat. Maybe my General Skywalker can beat some of them. I'm going to potentially play around with that this season, but if I do that, that means I'm going to have one of my best defensive teams on offense. I'm going to have to find a replacement for it. So these two teams are going to be there to kill Galactic Legends, folks. Now, if I have a really tough match ahead of me, probably going to swap out Grandmaster Yoda and Jolie for Jedi Luke and Revan or Hoda, something like that. Make sure that this team is good to go. Kenobi is probably my best shot against a Jabba team, for instance. I do have Datacrons on this account, so and that's one of the reasons I'm able to beat a lot of these bigger players. And I do have this season my Commander Ahsoka Tano, because she's a scoundrel, is able to ignore revives, which means you can kill Chrysanthemum in one hit. Then all you have to do is deal with Boosh, and you're home free. So those two, I typically will put my General Skywalker on defense, though this season may change that a little bit. I'm not quite sure. Otherwise, you want him on defense, and you want a lot of health. Sorry, not health. You do not want health, in fact. You want protection and armor, if at all possible. So that's probably what you want. Trust me, guys, that's what you want. Now, this is something I said in my other video. Guys, so Radis is pretty good on defense. He really is. He trips people up. You want to mod him for... I wonder if I did end up putting mods on him. I know that I had one off of him a while ago. Okay, I need to 6E that at some point just for his ship. But here's the thing. This team ties people up and messes people up. The thing about it is you have to have a tank in the squad. I know that it's really attractive to put Cassian here as the third. I would highly recommend not doing that. You need a tank of some sort, and it needs to be Rogue One if you can, because like the Rogue One tanks are going to be worlds better than this. Radis and Jin have to be together to make the team at all. Like that's a prerequisite. You need a tank for this squad. Otherwise, it's going to be destroyed by bounty hunters, going to be destroyed by Bad Batch, going to be destroyed by all kinds of things. Like I use my Akbar team with Leia and Stormtrooper Han to kill this team all the time because people fall for that trap of Relic 8. Relic 8 doesn't mean anything if your opponent has a good mechanical advantage over you, and so you want to have a tank here to stop that. Now, this Scarif Rebel Pathfinder probably isn't going to stop a lot of the things I just said. The bounty hunter's still going to probably have their way with your team. Bad Batch probably, but if your opponent has any hope of failing, it's going to be in having a tank here. And honestly, those teams, if you're using a tank here, those teams aren't 100% counters. They may feel like it sometimes if you watch the video feed of it, but they're not, and your team is going to get some holds eventually. Or at the very least, it's going to stress your opponent out, and hopefully they they have high blood pressure and suffer. We're not going to say something about anything about death or anything, of course. Now, I've kind of a weird thing. I've Ben Solo, and he is strange in 5v5, though I could use him with Starkiller squad. However, I don't have a use for him in 3s, really. I do, because I don't have Rey. I do have Jedi Training Rey because she was a requirement for Jedi Master Luke. And I have BB-8 because I've been slowly working on him, and I think that Sarah will probably claw my eyeballs out if I don't eventually get him relicked on this account. So this team is probably just going to be on defense. It got me a couple holds last season, surprisingly. I don't have any Omicrons on Ben. I should probably just throw his best one on him, the Force Dyad, I think it's called. Yeah, I should probably throw that on him at some point, though I can't really use it at all unless he's with Jedi Training Rey. If you don't have Ben Solo, I would just put Resistance Hero Finn here, or R2-D2 also works because if he works really nicely with another Resistance droid. So those would be my suggestions. Probably should just throw that Omicron on. It's like such deferred. Like I'm not gonna get Rey for at least another year at least on this account. So, alright, here's the best split for your Sith, folks. Now, I think that if regardless of what level of account you have, you should be planning to get Savage at some point with his Omicron. It's just too good. For 5v5, 3v3, it is really, really strong. And you can see I have a Relic 8 Darth Malak. That just means that it's there for platoons on my alt. So we had to sign up for a character to Relic 8, and because my account is smaller and everything, I wanted to still contribute, but they let me choose a useful character so that it wasn't just wasted GP like some other people are doing, like Lobot, and those guys are the real heroes. However, Malak is Relic 8, where almost nothing in my account is real. Note that almost every character, unless there's a substantial reason for it, all my characters are Relic 5 so that I can use Datacrons on them, but then I don't raise them higher unless there's a substantial reason for it. Like if you have a Datacron that's level 9, for instance, like my Darth Malgus had a good Datacron at some point. However, I do think that he should be there's a significantly good reason to get him to Relic 9, to be honest, guys. He is crazy strong. But the reason you want this split here, folks, is that it's going to be very tough to remove Savage. Now, note that my Savage is only gear 12 plus 0. I'm not going to hold too much with him. However, as his lead, you're going to have a few different things. It's going to be tough because Talon is there. She's going to make it more difficult to beat me. And then also, I do just have I have a data. I do have Datacrons, but I do have a leadership that gives Sith allies extra defense and some tenacity. I mean, the tenacity is whatever, but the defense is really nice for my Relic 8 Malak. And this team, with Talon, if they're forced to hit Savage because he has the pre-taunt, and then he's giving turn meter to these guys, it's going to be a mess for people. And then on top of that, the Malgus team, here's the thing, folks, if you don't use this specific comp, people are going to find ways around it. They're going to use bounty hunters, they're going to use Hondo, they are going to use just Jedi. Like, that's what I'm going to be doing. As you'll see this season, I'll probably be using a lot of Jedi Knight Luke to kill this team, to kill Darth Malgus teams. But I can't do that if it's this specific comp. This comp is just too powerful. Traya will also work against a lot of Darth Malgus teams if it's not this comp. Traya can still work sometimes, but, with her Omicron and everything, but this is the split that I like the most, folks. If you can get Savage, I would highly recommend you do it. And then obviously, like all of these characters, in 3v3 so far I haven't found a better split for them yet. I know that Sith Marauder is just out in the cold. I don't have a good answer for that. Just hopefully you can throw him a blanket or something. Now, we have Darth Maul, or sorry, it's not Darth Maul, it's just regular Maul with Canderous and Armor here. Depending on what comp you're facing or whatever, so I have set 6 right now for Datacrons, which means I can get a bunch of turn meter, access to 40% extra turn meter, and I have them modded so far so that Armor is weaker than Canderous, so Armor would actually go first. She can call a mass assist on my opponents, and everything is wonderful because then Canderous then gets his bonus turn, or he gets his bonus turn meter. He's able to go and it triggers Maul's double frenzy, and you're able to just go off to the races. Now, sometimes you're going to want Jango to be on this team instead. Last season, I don't think it was on this account, but last season my main account used Jango instead of Armor to kill a Jedi Master Kenobi team because Cat was able to kill Jango once, but not twice. And then I was able to just, use the Kron from Canderous. It's the reason he's a Relic 7, because he has a level 9 Datacron from set 6. And I was able to just kill that Kenobi squad. It was pretty cool. I won't lie. That was one of my favorite moments, because I didn't have anything else that could kill Kenobi. But this team takes down Galactic Legends. It does a lot of good stuff. I would highly recommend not placing it on defense. People do a lot of weird stuff against this team, even like using Nest sometimes. Like, so you can beat this team with a lot of different things, even though people mess it up. If you want to put it on defense, if you just have to put it on defense, I would recommend putting, instead of armor, well, armor can work. Like, you probably want either Bo-Katan for all of the cool regen that she gives the team so that Nest can't really penetrate or get through, or you probably want to put like Bando in there, like Beskar Mando. I don't like this team on defense in 3s, to be honest, guys. It can trip people up, but I think on offense it's going to have a higher ceiling. If you have L3, you can actually just use this team plus L3 instead of armor. Well, actually, no, you take out Canderous. You just use armor lead with Maul and L3. You can kill like Supreme Leader Kylo. It's pretty crazy. Your L3 has to be able to take 2 hits from Kylo in order for that to work, though. So not everyone has that. This account certainly does not. Now, I do have my Troopers squad here. I have got them all up to Relic 5. It wasn't as much of a problem in 3v3, but the thing is, I have a Set 6 Datacron. Man, Set 6 is going to be so sad when it leaves, or I'm going to be so sad when it leaves for this account because it does so many good things. Thing is, I have a Set 6 Droid Cron that denies revives, which means Dark Trooper, when he has to go and punch out like a Darth Revan team or something that has the tank revive cron, he ignores revives. So he disallows revives, and it makes things pretty smooth. A lot of times you want a fast Piet, of course, and I mean this team, I lean really heavily on this team. Honestly, guys, you want your pit to be pretty quick. I mean, this is pretty lightning quick. In fact, probably some of the best mods on this account. And remember, you're plus 20 speed, and then you're going to have the turn meter cron that gives you another 60% that goes on to Dark Trooper. So your squad's going to be pretty quick, and hopefully you're going to be successful with it. I wish you luck, young hero. Now, we have Mon Mothma, and in order to wear a Datacron, I like to put Biston here. He has, actually, I really need to just swap his mods out. I think they're all just kind of garbage. Yeah, this is just what I had on him for his ship, so that his ship would be fast enough, and now we don't even use his ship. It's kind of embarrassing and sad. I need to replace these with functional mods, even if they're not 6E. I guess I could put the 6E on something else, but the thing is, you get a lot of turn meter from Biston because he has Frenzy that lasts for like 4 turns or something like that, or 6. It's crazy how well this works. That he gets a ton of turns, he steals turn meter, so it's kind of like you're getting a twofer. He's getting turns while stealing turn meter. Kyle Katarn obviously does his Kyle Katarn badass thing, and then Mon Mothma, man, Set 2, I miss Set 2 when she had her own really awesome Datacron, but this is probably what I would want. If you don't want Biston here for some reason, or you want him to go somewhere else, you want to go against my express wishes and use Biston as the third and not a tank on your Profundity team, not Profundity, Adrad team, then you could put Cara Dune here if you wanted to, though she kind of goes with Sana these days. I don't have a Gear 13 Cara Dune anyways, like Hothrebel Scout, not Soldier, or Pow would probably make a good third as well. Now, the Commander Luke team with Chupio, here's the thing, there's a good Set 6 cron for these guys, and if I wanted to use the Set 7 Chupio cron, I would need to get him up to Relic 7, which I'm working on Jabba right now. I can't spare any mod materials at all. My Bronzium wiring is just totally shot. I have none at all, and so this team is going to roll probably on defense is my guess, and it can mess with people. I think that the Chupio cron is probably better. I can't get Relic 7 on him right now. Unfortunately, I think that would be one of the first things I did on this account, though I think there's a few other ones that I'm really going to be targeting for this account as well. I don't know, we're probably going to enter a dark age for this account for a little bit because I'm focusing on trying to update it with a few different Galactic Legends, in which case it probably turns a little less fun. I don't know, we'll have to see. Now, we do have Dash Rendar here, and one thing I want to point out, folks, is Dash Rendar is fun here. What? Where's my Han team? It's somewhere here, right? Yeah, okay. Alright, here. Why don't we... I'm going to pause for 1 sec. You guys won't even notice. Alright, we're back, and you guys haven't been away. So, okay, I wanted to move this Han Solo team up here a little bit because... so there's a few different things going on here. First off, BAM can be used with a Fennec team to soft counter a lot of different Lord Vader teams out there, and you know, that can work. Of course, you just have to figure out what you want to you know, what needs to happen exactly for that to, like, you have to be pretty confident in that counter, I guess, is what I'm trying to stammer my way through saying. And I like the BAM team with Han and Chewie. If you were facing someone who has Afra and they put her on defense, you're probably gonna want Han and Chewie with a dash lead instead, so that your Han can shoot and stun her so that she doesn't get her first turn right away, especially with her really cool Datacron that she has from set 6. If you're not going to face someone with Afra, I do like this dash comp. Probably young Han Solo is the one I would recommend most people gear up these days. I have really enjoyed young Lando, but he's limited in the sense that, yes, he has one of the hardest hitting specials in the game, but it doesn't ramp damage. Young Han Solo eventually is able to hit way harder than young Lando, and he's able to assist, which is also really nice. Now, young Lando does go well with this team, and remember, dash keeps them all alive, and the AI is just real dumb. They don't like to target Vander Chewie. He's like, hey, I don't have a tank protecting me. Please shoot me. And they're like, nah, I think I'll kill young Lando again. He's like, okay. Is what he really says. But, yeah, it's just a very interesting situation there, guys. Like, you kill Jedi Master Luke teams all day with this. It's very silly. Sometimes Jedi Master Kenobi teams, depending on how they are modded. Now, if Dash goes with Han and Chewie, probably just want Beskar Mando. Like, it doesn't just swap laterally. Like, probably you're just wasting Vandor and young Lando. There's not really a great other option, unless, I guess you could take the Kira with level 7 and use her here, but I don't know where the damage is coming from in that case. You probably want like veteran Han instead of young Lando. It just turns into a mess. You guys can check out the Datacron sheet that I put out, the infographic on my Discord server. Look in the server for infographics, or to see what Datacron specifications you need for that team. But otherwise, like, yeah, Dash goes with Han and Chewie, and then Bando probably just goes and hangs out with like IG and Queel or some bounty hunters or something. He doesn't really lead Vander and young Lando that well. So just kind of some theory behind that a little bit. Now, your Inquisition, you can do a couple different things. Like, first off, you could take Ninth Sister. If everyone's got the Relic 7 Inquisition with the Relic 5, 5th or 6th person, eventually, like, you can do it one of two things. First off, you could split off Ninth Sister to go with like Darth Vader and Starkiller, and that kills a lot of General Skywalker teams. Then you could move Fifth Brother up to go with the Grand Inquisitor and 7th, and that'll take out a lot of teams as well, including General Skywalker teams, in fact. But then you're left with, then you're just wasting 8th and 2nd. The other thing you can do is just use Grand Inquisitor on offense or defense. This team does decently well. There's a set 6 Datacron for them as well, and you can use them. And then this team is definitely good on defense. Fifth Brother is the second best Inquisition lead right now. Of course, once you unlock Riva, that's going to change, but it's going to be a pretty important thing to be able to do on this, or to be able to do. I will probably put this team on defense, maybe the Inquisition team on defense as well. I haven't decided yet. It depends on if I need to kill like Supreme Leader Kylo. I think these guys have it in them to do that, maybe, because they're immune to stun while I have this Datacron set. So I don't know, a couple things to think about for me here. Okay, so on my main account, I told you guys that I really like to use Shock T with Bad Batch, and I do. I think that on defense, that is probably the best thing to do. However, I don't have Relic Bad Batch, and that's probably not going to work here. And I don't have enough teams that I can just waste Relic characters, especially characters that are decent. They have their Zetas, they have decent mods, and so Shock T hangs out with the two Joker bros. This team is old as dirt. It's been around since forever. This is what, GAC 38? Something like that, season 38. I think that this team has been around since like GAC 1 or something like that. It's that old. So people know how to beat it, and it is what it is, folks. It steals some banners. People can underestimate it. Sometimes if people want to use their Malak to solo it, then I guess you get sad. If they want to use Nest to solo it, then you get a little happy because sometimes they fail on that, and you can laugh at them riotously. Ha 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 ha! Like that. Like Nala. Just like Nala. Now, alright, so the GL Newt team, now we can actually, I can put a Datacron on this team. It's kind of fun. I don't really know which Cron I want to use with them, though. That's kind of fun, though. Probably the Target Lock one is my guess. Everyone's Relic 5, though. That's exciting. So, yeah, this team kills the Qui-Gon team that you guys are going to see in a little bit, at least somewhat consistently. Now, if you have your Jango modded the way I do for tanking with the Mando team, then he's not going to do as much damage as you want. So, just keep that in mind, folks. If you've modded him to work with Mando, or to work with Maul, then he's still going to be decent. He still hits okay, but he's all health. He's like, it's nothing but health. So, yeah, this team does okay. It'll kill a lot of stuff. It's a pretty good all-comers team. You can also put it on defense and trip people up if they don't know how to beat it. Especially if you have a really tanky Jango, that's actually maybe the way to do it. This is the way. I'm not convinced that Jango actually knew the way, to be honest. Be interesting to know. Now with Bosk, Dengar, and most people have a Zeta Zam. Zeta, gosh, I just wanted alliteration there, folks. Apparently, most people have a Relic Zam because she's a Relic, 7 requirement for Lord Vader. I just don't have that. I don't have Lord Vader, obviously, and so I don't know how effective this team is when she is such a weak link. However, you kind of need it to make Bosk pretty quick. And the dirty secret about 3v3, folks, is a lot of times with bounty hunters, you don't need Bosk for offense. Sometimes you really want him. He's a nice crutch character for sure, but a lot of times you can just get away with using Greef and Fennec and Mando, or even like an Aura team with Greef and Mando or Fennec. Like there's a lot of different combinations. You don't necessarily need Bosk. And so what happens is, if you have a good armor Datacron especially, then you can put it with this team, and it'll really mess with people because they can't get through. And obviously I can't even put a Datacron on this team. I need to get Zam her relics at some point. I need to unlock Lord Vader. At some point this account is going to have all the GLs, and it's going to be, I don't know, maybe we'll just drop it and hit the reset button, who knows. But one way or another, this account, you do want Zam, and this team just gets holds like crazy on defense. Seriously, it's pretty gross. What I might end up doing is just putting Boba here instead of Zam, even though my boss will then be kind of slow. I don't love it because troopers just end it, but what's a man to do? Now, here's something that's fun. I've been working on my Jabba team, and I even have the Omicron on Chrysantin. And so right now, this team is in fact decent on defense. I should probably put a little bit better mods on them. Eventually we need to get them higher relics, though we're just doing Jabba requirements right now. And like I said, I don't have enough relic material to really make it super worthwhile. However, Boosh lead is a surprisingly strong and effective leadership, folks. And honestly, I wish that Jabba could operate without Boosh, because if he could, you could make two good Hutt cartel teams and just use this team, and then use Jabba with like Gamorrean Guard and Boba or some random crap. I don't know. But this team is good because people can't assist while they're doing it. People assume that they can do that. Also, Boosh shuts down a lot of different things with that are specific to her being the lead. So yeah, the bounty hunters, you're gonna get your contract eventually sometimes, but the contract isn't as important. But they also I would recommend reading her Fearless and her Oxygen Cloak. I know that's not what it says. Oxygen, Giant Cloak. This team is solid, guys. I'm excited to put it on defense this season. I don't know how it's gonna do, but people will underestimate it sometimes. I'm gonna put it in the front zone, I think, just so people think they can beat it, and then I'll beat them, or they'll think they can beat it, and I'll be like, ha ha ha, and they'll use a weak team, and then they'll still lose, and I'll be sad. But all right, I like Starkiller with EP Mara, guys. In 3v3, this team will kill a lot of different Galactic Legends. Yes, I know that Rey is new and scary with her crons and everything, but if you're in Kyber 2 or less, you're not going to run into those crons too often, though. I guess a lot of people are kind of getting flushed out of Kyber 1, so you might end up running into some of those in Kyber 2. This team does pretty well, though, folks. For what it is, do me a favor and put more relics on your Starkiller than I have on mine. It's an embarrassingly low relic Starkiller for what I've asked him to do to kill Galactic Legends. I'm like, dude, why aren't you hitting harder? He's like, dude, why aren't you giving me any more relics? I'm like, dude, I have to put them on It's an embarrassment. Now, we do have this Traya squad. Again, I would love to get him to Relic 5, but I just can't right now. I have the Omicron on Traya, and I think this team is finally going to go on offense for me. I think I'm going to try to kill some Malgus squads with it, if I can figure it out. Like, the thing is, if Malgus runs that comp that I was showing you up top with Darth Revan and Basti, this isn't going to work that well. So, especially at Relic 3, they don't have the greatest of mods either. This account is limited on a lot of the different fronts, even though I typically do have better mods than the majority of people in my groups. This team, it does fine. At Relic 3, it's just questionable. Relic 5 would make me feel a whole lot better. I'll probably keep it for offense for some of this season at least, and see how it does. We'll see, guys. We'll see. Like, Darth Nihilus lead, in fact, does some interesting stuff as well with this squad, especially with the Omicron. Now, what I was talking about earlier with the Bounty Hunter comps, I probably should have just put them together, but I like Fennec lead here with Greef and Mando. This will kill a lot of different Lord Vader comps, in fact, unless there's a few different comps you gotta want to look out for, but you're gonna get your contract right away with Greef, and then Mando can just kill whatever tank he's got, probably Royal Guard, and then Fennec just armor shreds things and destroys them. Remember, Lord Vader, with his initial move, like, he'll go, and then he'll do his Force Crush thing, and he'll put 8 dots on everyone and speed down, which means that you're going to have 9 on each, which is 27, which is more than 20. If you didn't know math, that's a freebie. You're welcome. But this team, it will get their contract immediately once Greef cleanses them. Now, you could put Bando here instead if they have a Maul on that Lord Vader team. If they have Maul on that team, I don't know if you want to mess with it that much. Like, Bam can save you, though. That's why I like to have Bam on offense, just to keep it a little bit, I don't know, make it more realistic to be able to beat some of these teams. And I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work. If there's Maul and Canderous is going to armor shred you this season, at least, with his Datacron. And then that gets messy. Then you don't have enough defense to survive. I'm excited to have Relic 7 on Fennec, though. She was a nice requirement for Jabba. She was only 5 for a while, and I was still killing a lot of Lord Vader teams. But I'm kind of digressing here. Now, okay, so I have this little combo here, these 3 teams that can kind of go a lot of different directions. So a lot of times Jedi Luke with Hoda is enough to kill a lot of teams. You can get an extra banner back, it's real nice. However, if you want to hunt Malgus squads, you can put Luke in as lead, and he's gonna make all of their speeds go down to the point where you're just able to take equal numbers of turns. In fact, you get more turns because he ramps his speed over time. And so you want his lead. Jedi Revan's nice because he keeps your guys alive through that savior thing. And then if you're taking on Malgus, you probably want Mace because of Shatterpoint. However, if you don't need Mace, then you can take Hoda on this team. Sometimes you can just throw Revan away. Like you could just put, like I said, put Yoda with Luke, but then you have a few different other options here, folks. Now, we have the Gidme team, which I've shown you guys before. You can go watch that video where Gideon supercharges R2-D2 and Padme, and you're able to one-shot a couple of your opponent's characters right off the bat. Works really well. My Moff Gideon is only gear 12. But he is kind of fast, 319. He has to be the fastest, so it doesn't work on every team, but it can work against a lot of the weird random teams that I end up facing. The other thing you could potentially do is have Padme with Ahsoka and Mace. This is a decent team on defense as well, because it can't, like a lot of Padme teams get destroyed by Malak solos. That doesn't work against a team with Mace because of that Shatterpoint. He's going to kill Malak, I can't talk or differentiate between the two guys. Those two potentially no-chin fellows in the Sith robes. The Mace is just going to chip away at them and kill them with Shatterpoint. He's just really good anti-Sith tech, anti-tanky Sith tech. So, mix and match these things. I would keep most of them for offense, to be honest. I do like the Padme squad here. It's just, it's pretty solid all around. Let's see. We have this, so this is my Bad Batch. I have a pretty quick hunter, I think, for this GP level. Yeah, 353 on Echo, and then I probably need to get Tech a little bit faster. I mean, I just need to get him up to gear 12 at some point, and it looks like I might even have the pieces to do that soon. But this team works pretty well. The thing is, it's predicated on the fact that people aren't going to be able to take turns because you're just constantly stunning them and keeping their turn meter in check. In 5v5, it's a lot more secure. Even though I only have a gear 8 Wrecker and a gear 8 Omega, this team takes down full relic 7 first order teams. It's pretty sick. As long as Echo can go first and dispel, remember, he dispels buffs, and for every buff he dispels, he gives 5% turn meter. That's the access to buffs to start a match, though, is going to be severely diminished by 3v3. So, operate with this team with care. Like, you can use it on Geos, for instance. They're going to have a pre-taunt, they're going to have stealth from Spy, and that's great, but they can also overrun you pretty quickly if you fail on some of your stuns. And remember, even if Tech has a ton of potency, which he does under Hunter lead, and you want to add some potency to him at least, with 40% more potency, and then he eventually gets potency up, he's able to do a lot of stuff. Even with really high potency, there's always a 15% chance that your opponent's going to resist whatever you're trying to do, including his stuns. So use this team with caution, but you don't need a ton of gear for it to work, depending on what team you're facing. A lot of first order teams are going to fall to that squad. Wampa, he just womps things, guys. Every once in a while, someone will be dumb enough to put their Sith Eternal Emperor on the table with just really garbage other Sith, and Wampa is happy to accommodate them in their foolishness. Now, Qui-Gon with Ki-Adi-Mundi and Jedi Knight Anakin, this team goes on defense for me, and here's the thing, guys, it just gets picked up so easily. It dies real easy if you don't make them super fast. You have to invest the mods in them. You have to be faster than your opponent's Echo. So, in this case, Qui-Gon Jinn, he's plus 60 speed because of his leadership, and because of Qui-Gon Jinn's Zeta, Qui-Gon because of Ki-Adi-Mundi Zeta. So he is an effective 369 speed right now. Ki-Adi-Mundi is plus 80 speed because his stance also gives him 20 on top of those other things. So he is a 262 speed character, and Anakin is plus 60 again. He's going to be 200 or 358 speed, so he's the limiting factor. And I wouldn't be able to use my Echo or my Bad Batch against this squad. This team gets probably the most holds for me on this account out of any of my teams. People don't realize how crazy hard it hits, even though they're only Relic 5. How much of a crime is it that they are only Relic 5? Like, Qui-Gon is a 5, just so that I can put a really good Datacron on them. Just put something with like a bunch of crit damage or something, and it works. I mean, yeah, I should get Anakin up to 7. I just my excuses keep going. I don't have enough relic mats, guys. Now, I do like this Basti team. I wish I had enough to... wah. Poor Zareth. I can't get a relic 5 on Ayla. This team is really fun, though. It has a stun from Basti, a stun from Ayla, it has a dispel from Basti, it has a dispel from Ahsoka, and they just go really well together. This is kind of a desperation squad, but keep in mind, you're not going to necessarily be using all of your Jedi, and you're going to be mixing and matching quite a bit. I just used these because they're pretty common characters that you just don't end up using a whole heck of a lot on... they're just like the leftovers, right? Like, they could go with a lot of their other good, Galactic Legend teams or whatever, but this team works pretty well, and they're all relicked, so, they do okay. I like the control that they give you. Plus, they stay pretty safe because of Basti's starting protection. Iden team, I've her relic because she is amazing. She does a crazy amount of damage. And then her team, I mean, Gear 12, I thought that I'd by now have really wanted to get him Gear or Relic 5 or something, just for functionality, but what I've discovered is these two just stay alive pretty commonly with Iden babysitting them. So, I don't know. It's also nice to have a team that I don't have to worry about Datacrons for when I jump into attacks. This will take out a lot of different CLS teams, though careful with that Chupio-Cron out there. This team is going to have a little less range. You're going to be able to kill a lot of Mon Mothma teams, which a lot of people put on defense. It works. It's nice. It's pretty neat. Now, we have Grievous with these two. Probably just throw a droid Cron with them and call it good. Probably put them on defense. And it steals banners. Every once in a while, get a hold. I would love to put Relic 8 on him sometime. And in fact, maybe I could, because he doesn't need Bronzian wiring to go from 7 to 8. Okay, so... I was talking earlier about Vader could potentially go with Starkiller. If you don't want to have Starkiller follow Vader around like a lost puppy because Vader's doing basics during Merciless Massacre and Starkiller's assisting, then you can always do something weird like Darth Vader with Thrawn and, either Watt or Boba. Vader's nice with Watt because you have weapons tech, and I don't have a use for Watt on this squad, really, that much. I wish that I had a reason to put relics on Scav Rey. Then I could put Watt with the Rey and Jedi Training Rey, the double race comp, and because Jedi Training Rey is a tank, you could actually, on defense, force people into fighting your tanky Jedi Training Rey. I don't have that though, so we're not doing it. And this team can do okay. Vader just doing his Merciless Massacre and preventing revives can actually kill a lot of different teams, and Thrawn holding their arms behind their back. I don't even have him even Relic 1. How crazy is that? Boba also works as a nice third instead of Thrawn or Watt, one of those two. He does a lot of damage. He adds dots, contributes dots, and then with he has some special synergy with Vader, just because Vader doesn't let dots expire, right? With his leadership, you have to put his Zeta on, of course, but then Boba Fett does damage with his execute ability based on how many debuffs he's dispelling. Now, those debuffs never go away, even if he shoots someone with them. So he uses his missile. He could either take him out altogether, or he does enough damage. He does enough massive damage and then all the dots just come back, and he applies healing immunity. Really nice synergy between him and Darth Vader, if you can make it work. I don't necessarily, I think I'll probably end up putting him on defense with Bosk, but I just wanted to show you guys that functionality. So with Night Sisters, yeah, you could put Zombie here. I know that it makes people nervous on my streams, which is part of why I do it, but this team kills a lot of General Grievous squads, and I mean, you have to revive quite a bit. You have to be pretty fancy with Daka. Make sure that you have her well modded. But this team does really well, especially Asajj with her Omicron, applying that healing immunity on everyone with her AoE all the time. Really good stuff. This team is really strong. In fact, I'm excited for the new Night Sister character. I might end up putting relics on the whole Night Sister squad. Who knows? Who the heck knows, folks? Now, we have, for First Order, if I had First Order TIE Pilot with his Omicron, easily better here than Kylo Ren, than OG Kylo. But, you know, we only have 2 GLs, and I don't have relics on everyone here. So, yeah, this team is pretty weak. I put it on defense because I need filler stuff, basically. You guys will see. If you ever want to watch me live on Twitch, I show you guys my full defense, even the back zone squads, because I don't care as much on my alt. Now, this is a team that I'm going to be... this team gets a lot of holds with Relic Sortie. I don't have Relic Sortie, as you can see. Just takes a while, guys. I don't have... Of all things, I'm blocked on gold balls here. So we could do this one, but then... See, we don't have the gold ball. We have all the other, like, obviously more easy to get stuff, but yeah, the salvage, the salvage is what I need. So, yeah, she's not relicked yet. Eventually, I want to get her Datacron from set 7, because I think it's going to be pretty neat, but I think the squad's going to be decent. I know the Queel kind of throws off the all-droid thing from Sortie, but this team does still pretty well. All in 3s, I've seen it get a lot of holds for people. The Akbar team... I really like this team. It's, you know, Machine Gun Leia is just super fun. You really do need Stormtrooper Han to make it work. I have 2 Omicrons on it. It's over-invested for how much investment I've put in with 2 Omicrons. It doesn't kill that much. It'll kill a lot of AdRad teams if they don't have the tank. If not, a lot of times these guys just sit on the bench, and I lament the fact that I put Omicrons on these 2. I could have put him on Ben Solo and had him be equally worthless. Now, we have this Kira team with Nest and L3. Kira's another one that I've been working on for the set 7 stuff. I just don't know how many of those I'm going to get. Like, she has to get Relic 7. I don't know how practical that is for this account at this stage, because I really need to get Jabba, and then I need to get Jabba a lot of Relic levels, so not sure. L3, I wonder if I could just take her up to Gear 12 real quick. That might be a nice thing. What kind of investment is that? This Mark 10. Man, this thing, I never thought that these would be something that I really needed a lot of. Here, let's just request these. People don't realize how scarce they are for me, apparently. But yeah, here, we'll even give this random guy some of this. There you go. You didn't think you were going to watch a video of me doing that, did you? Haha. Let's just get her to Gear 12. That seems like a nice move for this account. Alright, cool. She's Gear 12 now, folks. We could put relics on her, or sorry, 6-dot mods on her. Now that we're going to. These last 2 guys, they're kind of relics of a bygone era, unfortunately. I wanted to, man, I regret the Chirpa Omicron so much, because you can make this team more than just the total crap it currently is. 3s is limited anyways, but if you put the Kron on Chirpa and you actually put some relics on them, you put some speed on Paplu, this team can be something decent. I just don't want to put gear on them, frankly. Like, we might have to with the new Galactic Legend Leia coming or something if we ever do have one, but as it is, this team is just... I'll put it on defense, just as a filler. They never get holds anymore. They used to get holds. I think if you put enough speed on Paplu, you get more holds. I just don't put any speed on him either. 216, yeah, he needs to be way faster, because remember, he has that cool unique that gives him an extra 25% speed, so it surprises people. They're like, oh yeah, slow Ewoks, and you're like, haha, my Ewoks are much faster than you had presumed, especially with the Chirpacron. The Geos, you can use them. I put them on defense. Mine just die. They're not good. They're not good, guys. I don't want to put enough mods on them to make them good. It's just kind of a mess. So, anyways, we're down to the dregs. This is. You guys can watch me on Twitch if you want. I always post my GAC matches on to YouTube eventually, so you guys can watch me play. I didn't last season as much. I think I did 1 match for last season because I needed to break. But yeah, anyways, guys, this is what I'm doing for this season. I hope this explanation and such help, and I guess we'll call it good, folks. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zareth and his alt prevail. I'm gonna be so sad when set 6 goes away. Take care, guys.